and welcome back to a brand new episode of Anime Podcasters. I'm your host, Hotshot Ginger, and with me I have the one who really didn't want to do this episode, but I eventually wore him down because it's a Hotshot show. Of course it is. JaianMusic. How's it going, buddy?
I will battle for this angel of a podcast. I'm doing very well. Thank you so much for having me on our show. Appreciate that.
Yeah, anytime.
Very kind of you.
Anytime. I welcome you back, not with open arms, but just welcome back.
Yeah, sure. Mutual feeling. Whatever the polite thing to say is, say here. Very happy to have you on Hotshot today. We're going to be discussing Alita Battle Angel, the anime and the live action. So we're going to be taking a crack at both, going over everything. Before we do, though, we have one housekeeping note I want to go over. Just so everyone knows, if you are subscribed to us on whatever podcast platform, you can also subscribe to the podcast via our Discord server. Basically, we have a channel in there called Podcast Feed, and you will get all the podcasts for Get Back Your Hotshot, the Cowboy Bebop live action podcast, the Chip Machine Drone podcast, and Anime Podcasters. So it's basically a text channel that whenever we drop an episode, the RSS feed will bring it up in there. So that's a quick thing if you want. That will be in the description to join the Discord server. And today, we also have a special guest. Last time he was on was very recently. He discussed Kids on the Slope, not the Slob Hotshot, with me. And that is Morgan. How's it going, buddy?
Hey, man. Hey, guys. It's going good. Happy to be back.
Happy to have you on. How you been?
I've been good, man. Keeping busy, working on some fun stuff. And that's it, honestly. Like, not too much different from last time. Hasn't been too long.
Almost back-to-back episodes for you.
Yeah, pretty much, yeah.
So,
but this time I get to talk to you, so this time you have to deal with my crap.
Oh, yeah.
Fair enough. But I want to start opening this with a typical question that I ask every time when we do an open discussion. How did you guys find out about Alita Battle Angel? Because for me, it was through you two suggesting it to me when we were trying to find a topic to do with Morgan. So how did you guys come across this anime, and what are your initial thoughts on it?
Morgan, you want to take this one first?
Yeah, sure. Totally. Basically, I'm a huge, and we'll hear this a couple times probably here, but I'm a massive Ghost in the Shell fan, especially the manga and stuff. And since I read a lot of manga, and basically I was kind of, I was looking for, I finished Ghost in the Shell, and when eventually, as it always happens, when you consume something like 10, 20 times, you think maybe I should start reading something else, So I was recommended from other people, Gunnm and Alita Alita, the manga, and so I had started reading it, and I think the manga is absolutely great. So that's something I want to get right off the bat before we talk about the OVA and the movie. But that's basically it. I was a huge Ghost in the Shell fan, and anything science fiction really, and manga. So there you go. Like, people had recommended me this manga as a kind of a continued from my other stuff, and they were right. I enjoyed it a lot, so that's pretty much how I got there.
Got you. What about you, Hotshot?
So, first thing I want to say right off the bat, we'll probably jump a little bit into the manga, like, because me and Morgan have read so much of it. So, Jane, that might just be a me and him thing, just so you know, but I do want to get into that. But
I'm interested to find out.
Okay. But the way I found out about Alita, I actually didn't find out about it until the movie was coming out, because as you guys know, I work in a movie theater. So when I saw the trailer for it, I was floored because it looks awesome. But then I asked my boss about it, because he said, that's actually an anime adaptation. So I'm like, wait, what? Hold up, what? So after I saw it once, twice, thrice, 4, 5 times in the theater, I actually started looking online for the manga and started watching it that way. But basically, after my boss told me it was an anime adaptation, I eventually looked for the manga, found it, read it, loved it, and then eventually tried looking everywhere for the OVA, and it took me forever to find it until I looked in the first place. I should have looked YouTube, and the first version of it I saw was starting to lag. Like, the voices would be normal, but then the video would like speed up, so it wouldn't like keep on track. But then just recently I actually found one that actually worked. So really, like, when we discussed watching this, that's the first time I actually saw the OVA in its entirety.
Nice. Yeah.
Very interesting. I want to get into the manga a little bit here, and like let's hit this one off the bat because I feel like it's the founding point of this series. That's where like I think that, like the manga came before everything else, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so I'm seeing here on my anime list 9 volumes. It's described as with 53 chapters, ran from 1990 to 1995. You know, right in my birth year. Let's go. Sci-fi, action. What are the biggest comparisons that you guys can make with the OVA? Because that's definitely like what I could pull the most from when it comes to this like series.
With the OVA, honestly, in manga connection, I mean, I completely forgot that Alita's initial name was Galley before learning that her real name was Alita.
Right.
Because in the movie it jumps right to Alita. That's what Ito names her right when she wakes up. But the manga it's really close to the OVA, but it's still like different enough to where it's not like the exact same thing. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Right.
So like there's so like her name being Galley, her eventually finding out about a hunter warrior. Hugo plays a much bigger role in the manga. I feel like in the OVA and the live action he plays just like about the same kind of role.
Yeah.
I felt there was more of a presence in the OVA in comparison to the live action personally with Hugo. But obviously the manga I have no idea because I'm the only one here who hasn't seen it. But what are your general thoughts on the manga, Morgan?
Oh yeah, well the manga I think is absolutely excellent. Just because if I'm gonna go aesthetically, I think it's the best out of the three. Just because I absolutely love the art style of the manga.
Oh really?
Like I love it. Like the just
it's gorgeous. It really is.
It is gorgeous. Like honestly, and I can't say that honestly enough because it's something where I love science fiction, but something that I'm always a bit picky for is like robot bodies or armor or stuff like that. Like for me there really needs to be a strong attention to like texture and just sort of how they're built, and for me I actually think that the manga is the only one that I can say like I think a lot of those things are pretty much perfect. The OVA keeps a lot of it intact, but I do think that like overall just the art style of the manga is just absolutely incredible, and there's a lot of really good shot composition in there as well that I think it's a really good, it's just such a great read, honestly, just out of a visual perspective. And I think it's really good. The OVA, my biggest issue with it will be very simple. It's that it's just far too short. Like there's a lot of things in it where
it is very short. That is something I have to add.
Like I honestly think that every decision that they made that's a change from the source material was really just in the aim of like trying to make a short thing that's like actually work, that you can watch it without feeling like you're not like they didn't because if they actually did 100% accurately, it would have felt like we watched a freaking glorified trailer, like you wouldn't feel like you got anywhere in the story. So I feel like that's a bit, it's there's
a lot to go through in the manga and like story path. Really, if each like chapter of manga got its own OVA, or like Alita got a series or something like that, it would have to be like 5 hour long OVAs at least in order to do it, I feel like.
Yeah, absolutely.
And I'm pulling that number out of because that's how many deluxe editions there are, where it's like a big book with a lot of chapters in it. And like that's the only way you can get it like more drawn out, because like in the world that Alita makes, there's just so much information, like what actually is what is Zalem and what is Trash City, and like diving deeper into the Hunter Warriors and like everything that they've done down here since then, and then the Myrrh, and then there's a whole lot to actually dive into, and an hour is not really gonna cut it.
Yeah, and that's the thing. What was funny is when I was watching the live action, because it was the first time that I watched it was for this, and because I missed it when it was in cinemas, and basically like I was surprised at how much the OVA and the live action kind of pull from the same parts. It makes sense because it's early portions of the manga, but it's the kind of thing where you realize like to tell the story well, to tell the manga story well, I don't think it would be a good decision if they were to do an anime like a 20-minute an episode anime. I think an OVA with, hour long or just 40-50 minute OVAs would definitely be the best case for it, because it's something where for a setting that's so well built and kind of like has a unique atmosphere like that, you do need to stay in it a bit. You can't just hop through quickly, which is why I'm a big fan of like, Ghost in the Shell, because literally like the 2 movies, they pull from like 20-30 pages of manga and they just blow it up into like hour-long sessions, but you feel like the atmosphere and everything a lot more, and I feel like Alita would deserve that kind of treatment as well, just kind of longer episodes and definitely attention to how it feels to be, in each of the settings, because the settings are great. They kind of sell me on it, honestly.
Yeah, and honestly, Alita herself and like the other characters are what sell me on it. And the surprising amount, I mean, maybe this is because they're all cybernetic and it's like technically you could say oil or anything, but the live action movie and the OVA and the manga are all bloody as hell, but none of them are rated MA. Like they're all like TV 14 or like 14 years or older or something like that. But especially the manga, the manga gets brutal.
Actually, I'm seeing R+ for the OVA, mild nudity.
Oh, okay.
Oh yeah.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah, from my anime list as the source.
Yeah,
so
yeah, we can see a head get ripped off and like arms and limbs severed and stuff like that. That's fine. That's PG-13. But one side boob and you're rated R.
It's over. Yeah. My God.
I'm reading here. Actually, I want to say this. Apparently, the OVA adapts the first 2 volumes of the manga.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah, about.
Is that like all they pull from?
Yeah.
That's all they pulled from, so from the OVA. The live action pulled from a little bit more because you didn't get into Motorball for a while in the manga.
Oh, Motorball was one of my favorite things.
Motorball is my favorite thing.
It's the best thing.
It's so cool. Like, okay, let's talk about Motorball a little bit. Motorball is like a new favorite sport of mine. Like I was cheering so hard for Alita in those scenes in the live action, and I gotta say, the live action just in general, very well made. We officially have one good anime live action out there that I can vouch for, personally. You know what I mean?
I mean, I appreciate that. Thank you.
Yeah, for sure. That sport, it was just like insane. Like, I mean, it's like the ball goes down the lane and it whoever gets the ball at the end wins, and you can slice and chop and explode anything you want. Did I get the rules right, or did I get the rules right?
More or less, yeah. It's basically like a one-track, like roller coaster style football, where you just have to get the ball and get to the goal first, and then that's how you get points or win. And you can slash, you can maim, you can shoot, you can explode, you can kill off everyone else that you please, as long as you survive. And actually, Morgan, I have a question for you. It's just a clarification question. Because at least in the live action, Alita didn't get the title Battle Angel until Motorball. In the manga, didn't she get it through her Hunter Warrior class? Like they called her Alita the Battle Angel, or did she earn that in Motorball too?
Here's the thing: I didn't reread the manga for this, which is a grave mistake. So I don't know if I'm ready to give myself out to the internet on this one, but yeah.
Bro, we've done it so many times where we got it wrong. So don't worry about that.
I feel
this is anime podcasters, not anime experts. You know?
Yeah.
Right. Yeah,
I feel like you're good. You're good. Go ahead.
Yeah, I feel like you're right, if only because I do remember, like, when I was watching the live action, I remember thinking like I remember feeling like that wasn't how it happened, but I'm not sure. But I will say this though, since we're comparing all of the versions, I think the fact that the OVA is so short is especially criminal, because it could have really done with some Motorball, like some nice Motorball sequences. Because honestly, like, Motorball is kind of one of the most famous things of like Alita, if not the most famous thing. Like
Right.
a lot of people, they have no idea, but like of the story and stuff. But for mostly anyone who's heard of like Alita and Gunnm, like they've seen or know about Motorball, you know. And for me, it's one of the coolest like fictional sports in manga, at least in my opinion, because especially like since manga, I've always found a bit of a difficult like medium for sports, even if it's super popular, you know, sports manga and all that. But like I find that like I don't know what it is. I think it's how like the motion is portrayed in the books. But Motorball is incredibly fun to just like when it starts, you're excited every time. You know, like you can read it as much as you want, and it's always a damn good time. But yeah, basically, I feel like it's criminal, and there should be video games. There should be a bunch of video games.
Oh.
like
I
don't know.
I would buy all of them.
Oh my!
I'd buy all of them,
Like,
all the season passes. I would probably only play as Alita, and or if you could like make your own like racer or player, like that'd be awesome too. Like collecting bits and parts and like what you want to use for the head, your right arm weapon, left arm weapon, what kind of transport, like boosters or wheels or stuff like that. That'd be awesome.
It'd be so good.
Oh my god, I would love that in a game. You know what? You know what I could picture? I could picture like a classic NES game with just like Motorball being the playable thing.
Why do you ruin it?
Oh, okay. Well, I'm sorry. I'm the old school gamer appreciator here. But
look,
I don't know, Morgan, break the tie here.
Retro games.
Morgan, break the tie. Would you buy that or not?
On the NES.
On the NES? Dude, at least go SNES, man. Come on.
That's what
like,
Jaden wants.
Honestly.
All right, you know what? I'll take the L.
Oh man. But no, but I'm telling you guys, like they're sitting on a damn good like video game
idea. Yeah,
100%. In all seriousness, I agree with you.
But I can.
I wanted to also.
I just want to say one thing. Yeah, I can see why the OVA didn't include Motorball though, because they were playing it really close to the chest of like the first couple chapters. Because there's a lot. There's the talk of Zalem, the talk of getting to Zalem, Hugo trying to get there, and Alita becoming a hunter warrior to raise the money, and then Ito's ex-wife trying to get back up there, and all her deals with everything, and then Grishka coming after Alita and Ito. Like there's a whole lot to actually take in that hour, and they filled it quite nice.
Yeah.
And meanwhile, in the live action 2 hour, they throw all of that at you, as well as Alita being part of the her flashback, number 99, Motorball. They do less stuff with Ito, or not Ito.
Yeah.
With Ito too. And Hugo and everything else. So it's just like, I get why they cut it out, because they were playing the chapters really close to the chest. Like, we want to get these on screen. But at the same time, in that style especially, I really wanted to see what Motorball would have been.
Yeah. I think it's criminal that we don't have an animated Motorball like proper like sequence. But yeah, no, it's true, and that's what kind of what I was thinking, in that since it's so short, we couldn't have gotten and since there's not much of it, we never would have gotten it, and that's why I wish it was an actual series or something, and not just kind of a one and done. Because as it stands, it feels like not a trailer, but almost like it feels like promotional material, in the way that like you finish that and you want to go buy the manga, go check it out, but yeah, so I do agree. But on that note though, it reminds me the film that is something that I like a bit less about the live action, is really that since they throw so much stuff at you, there's a lot of moments where I feel it's a bit like unfocused in terms of what the main narrative thread is, in that when like I'm trying to remember what the climax of the movie is, but I know that the last like 20-30 minutes, the live action, I remember like the last 20-30 minutes, I felt like every scene I was getting like, oh, this is like the climax, I guess. And then we kept moving, because you get the emotional sort of climax with the Hugo like plot, where I felt like, oh, this is kind of like as big as it gets for like our characters. But then you also sort of get like oh man, I'm drawing a massive blank, but the scene with Marshalla Ali and him dying and all of that, and then
with
the reveal with
Alita and Hugo, or with the villain. Oh, okay, yeah,
yeah, because
yeah, okay, I remember.
That was actually,
but I remember.
Sorry, go
yeah,
ahead.
No, go ahead.
That was actually another change. In live action, like after Hugo's death and everything, Alita is the one who went after. I can't remember his name either, but the guy Nova was controlling went after him and Grishka to basically kill him to take another one of Nova's puppets. But in the OVA, it's Ito who goes after him because of his rage of them coming after Alita and then finding out what happened to his ex-wife and then killing him either in cold blood or in rage or in revenge, whatever you want to call it. But it kind of amazed both me and Kyo just seeing Ito do that, because we're like, I thought Ito just like went out at night and was just the doctor, and now we're watching the OVA. It's like Ito's kind of a badass.
You're right.
But we were both in total agreement that Ito looks remarkably like Vash the Stampede.
Yeah, a little bit. I can see that a little bit.
Like in the anime, at least, like live action, like not so much. But in the anime, he looks exactly like Vash.
Yeah.
I wanted to ask you guys about the role of the hunter warriors, like the bounty hunters. Like how Alita is a badass because of it. I don't know. I just really loved that role. I mean, I know to me it was kind of a switch. I interpret it as like the bounty hunters from Bebop, but like it's much more intense and severe here in terms of blades. If there isn't any other way to say it. What did you guys think of that whole aspect in the live action and the OVA?
If you're not Alita, Grishka, or Ito, you're kind of a pissant. Because don't get me wrong, like we saw like other Hunter Warriors in their classes and everything else. Like initial responses, like they looked like they could fuck some shit up. But like once the bar fight starts and everything else, it's just like, okay, you're all going down in like 3 hits. And then when Alita's like basically calling him out, like, we're all Hunter Warriors and this guy's corrupt or anything else like that, everyone's like, yeah, there's not a paycheck on it, not my problem. But I do love one Hunter Warrior I do love the dog worker. I can't remember what his actual title was. Dogmaster, I think. Especially like all of his robot dogs coming after Grishka because he killed Alita's dog.
Oh, right.
Yeah.
That was just kind of amazing to me. I'm like, these are all robot dogs, and that's badass. The rest of you can suck it.
Oh yeah. No, I completely agree there. Like, definitely the most memorable one for sure. Outside of the mains.
Speaking of fucking shit though, Alita's fight with Grishka, like any one of them, Jesus.
Oh my god, yeah. Dude, those fights were insane. I mean, the live action ones were the best for me, honestly.
I can't blame you. I really can't. Especially with Alita shattering his arm, then losing her arm in his eye. Like, just that final punch. Like, that was incredible. And then the final
the thing is, like,
splitting in half.
You know when you see those kind of fights, you kind of think, oh, the hero's gonna win this one. For some reason, I was like, Alita's losing this one, and then she wins. I'm like, oh, Alita's gonna lose this one for sure, and then she wins again. I don't know why, but I always was betting against Alita in them.
Well, I mean, in the second one, when after Alita talks to the Hunter Warriors and then fights Grishka, you can really argue she loses because she loses her entire body. Like, she is essentially destroyed. And Grishka is chased off.
She's never like
outside
completely destroyed, though. That's the point. She's never like put down for good.
Well, no, because she's Alita. She needs to live.
She's got that plot armor, bro.
Literally, the title character is the only one that needs to live. Ito can die. Hugo did die. And
what? He dies? I forgot about that. Don't spoil. Wow.
By the way, guys, spoilers.
Yes, for sure. Spoilers. No, nothing is spared.
Wait, he dies? Actually, no, I'm kidding. No, obviously, no. Fans know. Fans would know that. If we're talking about Alita, we're talking about...
Honest to God, I honestly thought Hugo, like, in the manga at least, would have come back somewhere. But no, after he falls off the tower to Zalem, he's actually gone.
Yeah.
Like,
that's
no
surprising.
one salvages him, uses him as, like, a tool against Alita or anything. He actually dies.
Yeah, well, that's the thing too.
Oh,
When you're, yeah. Sorry, you can go ahead.
no, you're good. You're good.
Yeah, well, that's the thing is,
I was
you
through.
know,
You're good.
no worries. But yeah, basically, I do find that's the thing that's funny is you would expect him to be like to come back just because of, for me, like going from when you get the OVA and then the live action, you're used to similar plot lines because they're all doing kind of the beginning and also the characters. But if you haven't read any of the manga and you're only watching the anime and the live action, you really have absolutely like no idea where the hell things are going and how it's just kind of it's shaping up, because a lot of that stuff, like a lot of the plot threads and things from the early portions, they not that they get ironed out, but they either kind of shift into like some really maddening territory, or just kind of, or do get kind of not eclipse, but just like things get crazy. Okay, the manga is nuts. If you're just like, if you haven't gotten into it and you're just watching the OVAs and the live action, like I swear, just go in there, because there's a lot more to discover after those after kind of the cutoff points of those two things, honestly.
Okay, I need to know though, Morgan. And this, if you don't want to be spoiled by the manga, skip 2 minutes ahead. What's the craziest part? Because I'm never gonna read this thing, but I want to know the best part. What's the best part after the cutoff point?
Nah, dude, like I have no freaking idea, man. Like the craziest part.
What's your favorite part? Yeah, or your favorite part? Like, what's the standout? Like, just come on, entice me here, bro.
Oh man. Oh dude, like
Dude, Alita, go.
Yeah. No, go ahead, because I have no idea where I'm starting with this one.
All right. The craziest thing that Alita probably does, like throughout the manga, is she leaves Trash City. She goes off, like in the world, just trying to find like basically how to take down Nova and everything. She goes on a self-finding journey, like who is Alita, who are the Mer, and everything else. It's a whole other journey. It leaves Zalem, it leaves Trash City. It's an entire journey like through her world, and she works through it as she still technically has the title of hunter warrior, but she's really more of a bounty hunter at that point. Like she's just taking jobs where she can, like a mercenary would, and she's always thinking of Hugo, stuff like that, connections she has back home. And it's from that point on, it literally is her story. Like you'll hear from Ito and every now and again, but it is just about Alita from that point on.
Yeah.
Wow. Damn.
Yeah.
Okay, cool. I like this.
Oh yeah.
It's a good read. The funny thing is, so Morgan, you said you're a really big fan of Ghost in the Shell, and in that direction.
Massive.
So when I first found this, so my roommate's a bigger fan of Ghost in the Shell than I am, but I am a good fan. I just have only seen like the one movie so far though.
Right.
But when I found Alita, I'm like, Kyo, I found my Ghost in the Shell. Because that's nice. Basically what it is. It's like Ghost in the Shell and Trigun. And that those are both things that he's really big fans of, and I'm a big fan of Alita, and another one that's in the similar kind of vein, Desert Punk. So it's just kind of like you have to, I have to, and that's just kind of how I see it at times. It's just a little weird,
right? Yeah, but yeah, okay, no, I feel you on that, and I'm of course like a massive Ghost in the Shell fan, and that's always going to be one of my tops. And like Alita hasn't gotten there yet for me, and the thing is, I'm also like, I'm not finished the manga, so that's kind of why, like for me, I kind of need to, once I'm finished, I'll probably take a bit of time and go through some of the finer moments and stuff, but and then I'll be able to know really like where it stands for me personally. But there's so many things that I find like I don't read it in the same way I read Ghost in the Shell, because Ghost in the Shell, I kind of need to be in the mood for like big sci-fi techno jargon and a bunch of like, but yeah, things that aren't necessarily fun every day. But honestly, like with Alita, I can almost always dive in and have a good time. Like there's something about the setting, there's something about Alita, like, you know, playing the guitar or whatever, like that's just kind of like, you're just going through and it's a good time. Like I don't know, like it has a rich setting, it has really great aesthetics, sure, but there's also things that are just a lot more fun than like the Ghost in the Shell movies specifically, because they're not particularly like fun per se. but however, there's a lot more kind of fun that I have with Alita. Although the manga of Ghost in the Shell, I will say, is very fun. Like the manga is different than the films in the way that like they're kind of I don't want to say bebopish because it's older and different, but they're episodic like mystery cases. And you know the author was like a big artist who used to do a lot of nonsense. Like so basically it's a very different read, but and it's less serial than Alita. But anyways, basically like I find like for me like Alita, I can kind of almost always go into it. Where I Ghost in the Shell, I love it probably the most, but I do need to be a bit in the mood, you know. Anyways, so
no, I get you.
So yeah, if that makes any sense.
Yeah, no.
All right, I want to ask you guys about the overall scenery of Alita Battle Angels, like the ambience of it, the atmosphere. Like forget the characters, just like the actual location where it takes place. To me, the scrapyard was probably the coolest part of it for me. I just see how like post-apocalyptic and not well put together for some places, but beautiful in others. And then the live action, obviously the city is way more advanced, I find personally, and way more well drawn out just compared to the OVA. I really, really love the setting of this anime particularly. What about you guys?
Honestly, I mean, that was the big reason why I said it was so similar to Ghost in the Shell and Trigun, because it's this post-apocalyptic junkyard, scavenge what you can, survive, but then meanwhile, like directly above you in pure eyesight is basically New York City in the sky, and it's just kind of it's just kind of like this is it really kind of brings down the question, like, would you rather rule in hell or serve in heaven, like that kind of thing. Like Hugo's boss told him at first, and it really kind of brings out like that duality to me. Like, is surviving but on your own terms better than like serving the higher but in like a more lush lifestyle, like that kind of thing. It also brings out like the mystery of Zalem, like what's actually going on up there. Ito says it's all smoke and mirrors, like it's not worth it, that's why he's down here. So really the setting for it works kind of well. It sets up the mystery, like what actually is up there or what's in the rest of the world. And honestly, the scenery and everything in it and like the world building itself leaves me invested and curious for more.
Yeah, absolutely. I know like earlier I had said that for me the setting is like a huge part of it, and I like that you mentioned like Trigun, like it's interesting because it's true that when I was getting into Battle Angel, like the setting is very different from Ghost in the Shell, in that I feel since Ghost in the Shell has a bit of a like there's a lot of the world building it's less about the mystery, for example, like not understanding. It's more like, since they're literally sort of police and detectives, there's a lot more of it's not a scrapyard. It's more of like going through the cities and going through districts and stuff like that. But what's nice is I do think that to round out sort of like the differences between, you know, Alita and Ghost in the Shell, I think the Trigun is a really good example because that's definitely very you know, a lot more scrappy, a lot more cowboy, I guess, or whatever. But that's good. I hadn't thought about it too much that way because I haven't seen that in forever. But I love the setting and the manga. The manga, I think, again, the composition in there is great. However, I will say this: I did enjoy the live action. I really did, and I do think, like as Jaian said, that when it comes to anime or manga live actions, like it's for sure the best one, and you know, they're like by a pretty massive significant margin. And as a Ghost in the Shell fan, as a Ghost in the Shell fan, like, you know, I'm just so happy that you know, Alita fans got to have a movie that wasn't like completely horrible, you know, because, you know, that's the thing, right? Is like for me, you know, I think
okay, that's
when I watched Ghost in the Shell, the live action, like I almost cried at how bad it was, and it broke me. So
I remember
I was worried. I was nervous.
Telling me about this at school.
I was so nervous. Like you know, that's one of the reasons I wasn't sure about watching the Battle Angel, and why I didn't feel too bad about missing it, because I was kind of like, I don't know if I want to go through this like again, you know. But the only thing, but anyways,
I like, hey, this is actually pretty good.
I was like, holy crap, this is actually this isn't bad. This is pretty good. But the only gripe that I do have, and it's more of a personal one, is just that I don't love all of the sort of aesthetic choices that were done in terms of like some of the art design. I think the actual special effects are great. A lot of the choreography and for the fights and just kind of the attention to motion I think is really great. But I think some of the art design I don't super love. Like for example, Alita's look, like her outfit and kind of I don't love it as much because I do feel like it's a bit like there's a bit of aesthetic to that film that is a bit too superhero for me, like a bit too Hollywood superhero, like we'll talk about it later for the music because I know one of the questions is about the soundtrack, but the soundtrack is like it's literally composed by a guy who does superhero music, and you can tell, like you can really tell the just classic sort of orchestral, very straightforward, like kind of stuff going on like all the time. But I do like the moments
and stuff like that.
Yeah, I do like the orchestral like swells and stuff here and there. But damn, like there's those are things that I personally don't enjoy a lot in my films, and even if they're good, it rubs me the wrong way sometimes. So I do remember being like, I think they did a good job considering that it is a Hollywood version of the film. Like it was gonna happen. It's like a necessity. That is what it is. I do feel like part of me is like, man, I would have liked it if the way like that the body was designed and built had a bit of that sort of 80s, like, the shoulder pads and the technology, kind of like the way the manga is sort of, the way the manga draws it's drawn. But that's a small gripe for me, and this is a whole way to kind of get away from the initial question of Jaian, but I think that bleeds a bit into the scenery for me too, where I think a lot of the things look great, but sometimes I find the colors a bit too cold compared to like how warm the colors are in the OVA and in the the manga is black and white, but you know what I mean, like a lot of the illustrations I feel like Alita is usually a lot kind of warmer and just a bit more red and orange, and so for me, like I think that's the only thing that I think could use a bit of work in the live action, and but I do think that they did a good job considering that it was always going to be a more Hollywood version, and as it goes, like it didn't go so far that it felt off. It's just a personal thing where if I wanted it to be perfect, I would have changed a bit of those things, But anyways, that's just me, so I have no idea how you feel. I'm sure Hotshot, you have your opinions on that one, and I would absolutely love to hear them.
Wow.
Yeah.
Come on.
Well,
yeah.
Because okay, so I totally get where you're coming from, Morgan.
Yeah.
But really, like colors and aesthetics like that, it didn't really bug me all that much. Like, maybe the thing that I wish the most would be like maybe Alita, like her trench coat and everything else, like could have been more, like directly ripped from the page, because like we barely really got her in the trench coat or anything at all, and that's kind of the look she's known for. After she got the berserker body, that's what we saw her, and we didn't see her in the trench coat and the jumpsuit or anything else like that anymore. It was just the berserker body. So really, like as far as everything like that goes for me, that'd probably be my only gripe, because I love that look. But everything else about it really didn't bother me that much. What did bother me, and this is just like a comparison in scenes, in the live action with Alita's like love confession essentially to Hugo, she literally reaches into herself and pulls out her heart connected by cords and everything. It's like that's a little much, and that's a little intense. Maybe back it up a little bit. But meanwhile, in the OVA, she confesses like a schoolyard love confession, just like, I love you and I need to know how you feel about me. Like, no, I'm not fucking leaving until you say I love you.
Right? It was a bit clingy.
It's either clingy or yandere stalker-ish, ripping out heart to give to said lover. It's like, okay, there's no middle ground with this girl.
Gasai just shows up, and she's like, I am Alita. No.
Went full emo,
no.
like.
I was going to say I'd believe it. No, I would not. Not even slightly.
Yeah.
Let's get into the questions a little bit. I think we can head there. Personally, unless you guys have like a lot of things you want to bring up, like we can.
I don't have a lot, but after the questions, I do have something I want to jump into, just because it's getting close that time. go
Okay.
Yeah, all right.
All good.
So, let's go over to the questions. Hotshot, do you want to read them or do you want me to read them? How do you want to take this, bud?
I can read them.
Go ahead.
Just want to say right off the bat, guys, sorry if I pronounce your names wrong. But Gabriella Final. I'm so sorry. Fiddle. Okay, that again. I'm sorry. Asks, how does the anime compare to the live action and vice versa? I feel like we've been talking about it like both back and forth throughout this entire thing.
I feel like we've covered this one pretty much. Personally, I'll just say which one I prefer. I prefer the live action.
Okay.
I actually agree.
Which is surprising for me. So,
Same.
Yeah. What about you, Hotshot?
I agree the live action too. It's not for the sake of like saying the animation's bad or anything like that. It's just the fact that there's a lot, as a consumer, there's a lot more to suck me in the live action. In the OVA, like I'm drawn heavily to the characters and everything else, but at the same time, I need my motorball. Give me my motorball, and then we will talk about me liking the OVA more.
Oh yeah, completely.
Yeah, and motorball is what takes it.
Yeah, I feel you, and I think for me, like how it goes is that I prefer the live action as well over the OVA, just because I think that for me, I do, as much as I griped and complained about it for 10 minutes, of like, oh, the aesthetic changes and all that, I do feel as though I prefer.
That was a really minor complaint, though.
Like, yeah, it's a minor complaint, but I will say, like, for the OVA, I think the weakness is, as we said, like, since it's too short and all of that, it doesn't get to quite be much on its own, but it is a good, like, once you finish the OVA, you're gonna want to read the manga, and the manga is excellent. I think the manga is by far the best, like, content you can get. But I feel like the live action, since it's longer and it gets to do more of its own stuff and just feel more complete as a story. I think it's better than the OVA for that, because at least, you know, as you said, you're getting a lot more content, and it's good, and it's different, and it's more different, because the OVA does feel like aesthetically it's like, you know, it's really going for a lot of the manga's cues in there. But so yeah, I think the live action is good in that way if we're comparing them kind of like that.
All right, cool. Let's go to the next question here. Megron Tija.
Okay, I don't feel as bad about pronouncing the last one as wrong as I did.
That's her last name, by the way. How did the ending of the anime impact you?
Wow, you just,
oh my, yeah. For me, it was very.
I'm sorry, Megron.
Megrin.
I'm sorry, Megrin.
Damn.
I mean, it's Megan with an R, bro.
I'm sorry that we're butchering your name and then kicking it while it's down as well.
Yeah.
Shut up.
Stop.
My God.
Okay, I want to go first. Yugo's death was like, the thing is, I saw it in the OVA and then I saw it in the live action. I was like, oh, maybe he won't. Oh, damn it, he died there. Just like the way he was like, he gets caught by Alita and she's like hanging on to him, and then his arm just gives out and he just falls. I was like, no.
Yeah.
Splat. Personally, that was the lowest point of the movie for me.
The lowest point
it was rough.
Yugo's death?
The lowest?
Oh,
like it's the worst?
Yeah, like the saddest point.
Oh, okay, good.
And
My
physically,
Lord.
It's the lowest point because he falls quite far down.
Okay, right.
And
so
dies a
physically
horrible
and
splatting
emotionally.
death.
Oh.
Okay.
Yeah.
Stop. Go ahead, Hotshot.
Ending. Honestly, in both versions, in the live action and in the anime, I saw Hugo as kind of a little pissant. So, really, what hurt me was Alita's reaction to it, and I feel like her reaction in the live action was a little stronger, just like crying out as Hugo dropped down. In the anime though, like after Hugo drops and then Alita just like coming to terms with that and everything else, like it hurt as a character, because I actually, in both of them, I did believe that they actually did have chemistry and an actual like relationship that they were going for. Like in the anime, Alita was actually like earning credits to go with Zalem with Hugo instead of just sending him to Zalem and everything else. So honestly, if I'm going back and forth between the endings, I like the one in the live action more. But it still hurt pretty hard because of just how distraught Alita was.
Oh yeah.
I have a weakness for Alita. Whatever she feels, I'm feeling.
We can tell. We can tell, Hotshot, you do have that for Alita.
Oh, I'm sorry. I'm in waifu culture.
Oh my.
All right, last question. Last question before Hotshot like falls off and splatters. Okay. Anyways, okay.
I won't do that. I'll die crashing in a motorball game.
Yeah, exactly.
That's a good way.
Motorball coming in 2022. Nice. All right, Morgan, do you want to take this one? We did one each, but you might as well, bro. And it's about music, and you love that. You love it.
I do that. Okay, I do. I will.
Are you sure?
I will just pull up the questions. Okay. So oh great. Now I have to like. I was very quiet when we were butchering names just to make sure that I would be spared. But
yeah, we all have to share this bullet. We all have to share the hurt.
I thought this would be okay. So Chris, and we're gonna go with Angelo, and I'm gonna just stick to it and not do any Jaian sounds for 3 minutes.
That's fair.
So I'm sorry if Angelo, if it's like not Angelo, but just there you go. So Chris Angelo, what are your thoughts on the soundtrack? And I talked very briefly about it because I knew that this question was coming up. And I'm assuming this is for the live action because that's the one that kind of has the most like prominent soundtrack because it is like 2 hours of music, and the music in that movie is pretty constant, like every scene and all of that. And if you guys don't know, I'm pretty sure the music in that film is done by it's done by Junkie XL, but he doesn't use his Junkie XL name. He uses his actual full name in for Battle Angel. But anyways, he does like he did a bunch of like big Hollywood kind of movies, like he worked on like Mad Max and a recent Terminator film, and I'm pretty sure he did Godzilla vs Kong, which I saw recently, and like he did some DC movies, superhero movies and stuff like that, which is why I said earlier I find it's a very Hollywood superhero. And I don't love all of it. There's a lot of stuff that I feel is just a bit too bland for me. Like I would have liked maybe a bit more craziness and a bit more personality in the motorball stuff, especially coming from him, because I know that he actually has a history of doing some really crazy electronica kind of like beat music and stuff like that. And I always think when he does a superhero kind of score with orchestra, I always feel like, man, use that electronic stuff. Like I would love it if there was just a bit more throughout the film that was just a bit more adventurous than what we got. But I do think that the more emotional orchestral pieces worked really well as like the background score and the score to kind of highlight the emotions in the film. I think a lot of the drama scenes had really good music actually overall, and it's more the sort of higher paced scenes and stuff that I found a little underwhelming for me personally, but not in a way that like, oh, it's terrible. It's more like it's good or average, but just it doesn't really enhance things as much. And if we're not talking about the live action, the only music that I remember from the anime is like there's one that has kind of like a whistling synth or something that's like a piece that's really, really good. And and that's great, but I don't remember much music from the OVA besides that. So that's my take on it. I don't know how you guys felt.
Yeah, for me, the thing was I'm gonna just focus on the live action because I cannot remember the music from the OVA. This is straight up. It's the classic orchestral hero music, like with the strings and the power of like just multiple layers of a full orchestra showing you the importance of the scene. And like at the end of the day, the whole point of music is to support the storyline, and that's what it did. I loved it. I was reading here on the wiki, apparently there was a song by Dua Lipa in the score, Swan Song.
Oh yes.
I did not know that was a thing. That's pretty cool.
It's in the credits.
And the other tidbit here, get this. The second trailer featured a cover song from Linkin Park's New Divide, covered by J2, the vocalist of Avery. So apparently there's some Linkin Park stuff in this. I
didn't see that one.
Yeah. So those I'm gonna leave it at that because I love me some Linkin Park. Hotshot, being the amazing music connoisseur you are, what are your thoughts?
I like it.
All right, let's move on. What did you want to talk about, like on your end?
So real quick, just one actual statement on the soundtrack.
You enjoyed it. That's cool, bro. I mean, that was very in depth of you.
It's just the fact that like calling back what you guys said for sounding very Hollywood superhero sounding. That's probably why I liked it as much as I did,
Yeah.
because I have a weakness for superhero stuff. If it's not cartoons, I'm probably watching superhero stuff. So, superhero Alita
Nice.
music soundtrack, it's good. I like it, and I have no other opinion on it. All right, so
All good,
the
all
only
good.
thing that I wanted to bring up, since we're getting close to wrapping up here, I just wanted to ask you guys both, what were your favorite parts and your least favorite parts? But for favorite, you just cannot say Motorball.
Damn it, that was my favorite.
Okay.
I'm sorry.
I feel like that's
Motorball.
all. I feel like that's all of our favorites. We just can't say Motorball.
No,
Okay, I'm
it's
gonna
too
need
good.
a minute here.
All right,
You're gonna need a
all
minute.
right, Morgan, you got it.
Okay. I'm gonna try to brain
Yeah,
for a
I'm gonna
second
need a minute.
because we just eliminated like the thing. But
Yeah, exactly. Like this
Yeah,
guy's like,
there
he
was a
can play
reason I
chess
did
against
that,
me,
this
because
but
guy,
it's
just
hey,
like,
like,
yeah,
what's your favorite thing, but not
we
the
already
best
talked
thing?
about, like, we all three of us like Motorball.
No, I agree. I completely
We already
understand
talked.
and
The three of us like it. Okay.
yeah.
So
No,
do
I
you guys,
completely
you guys
get
have one in mind, or do you want me to go mine first?
it.
Go ahead.
Yeah, go ahead.
So the first one that comes to my mind, at least, is the whole scene with the Hunter Warrior bar fight, and then the second Gariska fight. Like that entire
I swear to
scene.
God, you're picking my second pick. You're picking my second thing. I swear,
Right.
I hate you right now.
Well,
I'm
that
really
sucks.
not happy. Right
It's just the fact that like that's like right after Alita becomes a Hunter Warrior, and it's like one of the only times we see her in the trench coat and everything. And then just
yeah.
her smart ass teasing attitude coming out just to the other Hunter Warriors, just baiting them, and then beating the ever loving crap out of them.
Yes.
I freaking loved it. My only question is, why
Yeah.
the fuck was Hugo there? He did nothing. And then the whole
Right?
Gariska fight, like I said, just Alita literally fighting when she only had an arm left and lodging that off like a rabid animal in Gariska's eye. Like, even when she had no way of fighting and she was just wiggling in his grasp and everything, she was not going down without a fight. And I fucking adore her for it.
Oh yeah, like that's actually where I was probably gonna go to. I think the second Gariska fight would probably be around some of my favorite parts, but the reason I was trying to think, going through all of the scenes in my head, and I feel like it's a movie that's actually oddly consistent overall. Like, there's not too many scenes that I think sink really low or too high. Like, I'd say if I had to pick my least favorites, because we also have to do that, it would probably just be like, you know, a couple Hugo scenes, not to be mean, but I also think he's a bit of a pissant in both the OVA and in the manga. I love him. I think he's great. I think he's great in the manga. I really do. But like, not like great like super high, but maybe comparatively, you know, I find he's quite good. But I don't know. In the live action, I feel like sometimes when he gets like little short moments like alone and stuff, and his plot with the gang, you know, I can't care for too much. And as you said earlier, I only care about Hugo in the way that I care about how Alita feels. Like, I don't. So that's something, I guess. I think they did a good job with Alita, I guess. But that would kind of be it. And if we're like for my favorite thing, I can't say for the live action, maybe the second Garushka fight, but I'd say like I do like the end, just because I don't know why, but across Alita media, I love like the big rings of death just as an idea. It's so kind of like it feels like so simple and maybe even a bit stupid if you were to tell someone, okay, so the safety like super high-tech safety like system is a giant ring of like blades, and when, you know, it kills you like when it hits you, obviously. But I always find that like it's like so simple, but also like you're not gonna survive, you know. It's like, you know, I don't know, like it's simple but very effective and violent, considering that like it's like putting someone through a blender, you know. I quite enjoy it. Those are kind of it for me.
At the same time, it's just like, okay, that's how we protect someone climbing up on the pipes. How do we protect against someone just flying up to the city?
Right. Yeah, totally.
It's like, well, then think about that.
No, but they're just like, like they can't fly, them poor people. Like, well, how the hell they're gonna fly up here? Get out of here.
Yeah, that's fair. Just real quick while I'm thinking about it, I already talked a little bit about it, My least favorite scene is the whole thing with Alita showing up in Hugo's window and pulling out her heart for the coins to Zalem, stuff like that. I'm still just like, no, bad, Alita, stop it.
No.
Oh, I remember that scene.
That's just like my entire thing. It's just like, I'd give you my heart. I'm like, no, Alita, put that back. It's like, that was intense.
Put it back.
Yes,
Put it back.
yes, it was. Never show me that again. Never show me you can do that again.
Oh man,
that's a bit much, Alita.
But I have to say, so for me,
yeah, go ahead.
Oh, go ahead. Sorry.
Yeah.
Okay, so for me, my favorite has to be the bar fight. The bar fight was so action packed, and it was one of those. Not that I'm snoozing, but like my head tilted back forward to in front of my screen. I'm like, oh my god, all these people versus Alita, and being the person I am, Alita's not gonna win. Yes, she does. Yes, she does. Of course, it's Alita. And then my least favorite scene, 100%, is Hugo's death. I really enjoyed him as a character personally. We didn't talk about him too much, but I really liked the bond he shared with Alita, and see him like I don't know how to say the word in English, but combler, like how would you say that in English? Like he just fills this specific part of Alita's like human side. I find, like in the live action, he's showing her around town, he's showing her Moneyball, and there's this attachment that I enjoy. And when that
Moneyball,
and when that Motorball, the one where it,
I know what you meant. I just want to imagine his Moneyball now.
And when that breaks apart, it really just I did not enjoy that, but I understand it's part of the movie. So yeah, that's my thoughts real quick.
All right. Well, I'd say valid picks, even if like all of them were about the same for the favorite part, at least. Just like if it's not Motorball, it's the bar fight and gross. Because not to say the rest of the movie is bad, just like those ones actually do stand out because this is a movie that actually stays pretty freaking true to form, to where it's like it actually is pretty good throughout, with like maybe one or two groaners here and there, but the rest of the time you enjoy it.
Let's wrap things up here. Okay. This was episode 112, where we discussed Alita Battle Angel. If you want to subscribe to the podcast, you can definitely do so on any of your favorite podcatchers, on youtube.com/JaianMusic, or on soundcloud.com/JaianMusic, or on animepodcast.bandcamp.com. Final thoughts / plug away, Hotshot.
All right, final thoughts. Alita Battle Angel, I love it. I love the live action. Same. I love the OVA, and I love the manga, even though I gotta actually finish it. I'm still missing a couple volumes. But all in all, I love it. I love her as a character. I love the world. I've been wanting to do this topic for so freaking long that I literally had to get a tag team partner in. Thank you, Morgan, in order to actually get Jaian to shut up and watch it. And I'm glad he did, because you enjoyed it like I knew you would. So thank you for giving me that second push, Morgan. And as far as plugs go, you guys can find me right here on JaianMusic's YouTube channel and on the podcast Anime Podcasters. You guys can also find me over on my channel, Hotshot Ginger, and listen to the sister podcast of PonsuCast, where me and GoProKyo talk about the things that Jaian doesn't want to touch his channel. And you guys can...
And the things that YouTube copyright claims. Yeah, but go ahead.
Yeah, there you go. We run a risky road. You guys can also find me over on Twitter at Hotshot Ginger. And you guys can find me on Twitch at Hotshot Ginger. I actually have started streaming video games and trying to build up my community over there. So come on by and say hi.
For sure. I very much welcome whenever you want to, Morgan.
Yeah.
Next month, so for August, I would like, and I'm going to kind of do a live proposal to you, Hotshot, for a topic. Mm-hmm. So Morgan has a roommate called Thomas, and he's very much an anime watcher, anime geek like Morgan. I've hung out with him many times. Great dude. I love him. And we really wanted to, I was talking to him the other day, and we really want to do a podcast on The Garden of Words, which is a 45-minute long slice of life movie that you will digest and love. So I'm going to throw that at you. You really would enjoy it. And he's a big fan of Thomas, of that movie. So just let me know what you think. Hotshot, we could do that, right?
No.
This guy.
Yeah, no, we can do that. We can do that. Like
awesome.
Watching one thing that's 40 minutes. Okay, I can find time to do that.
But in all seriousness, you're gonna enjoy it.
Okay,
It's really amazing.
I mean, you had me watch Your Name, and I fell in love with it. So
yeah, it's on par in terms of how good it is. In my opinion.
No,
so
it's not gonna make me as sad as Your Name, is it? Your name hurt me. Okay.
It's I brought it up on podcast when I was a guest.
Yeah,
when we were talking about the whole
I gotcha.
Slice of life discussion. Anyways, so let's not forget to plug GoProKyo. He does all of the artwork for anime podcasters, the JaianMusic and the Hotshot channel. He's available for commission, does amazing artwork, has super affordable rates, and works extremely quickly and does great quality work. If you have any artwork, any sketches, any animation, anything visual that you require, GoProKyo at GoProKyo on Twitter. Go check him out. Go slide in his DMs. So for myself, Morgan, and Hotshot, this has been another episode of
Anime Podcasters.
Anime Podcasters.
Bye, guys.
Bye.